Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Top 3 most painful torture methods. Number 3. The Brazen Bull. A hollowed out bronze bull with a door on its side. The victim was locked inside and a fire was set underneath it, heating the metal until the victim was roasted from the inside. The bull was constructed in a way that the victim's scream would sound like a bull was crying for help. Number 2. Disruption dismemberment. Each of the victim's arms and legs were tied to a horse, walking opposite ways, slow at first, then quickly, tearing at the joints, leaving the victim to bleed out. Number 1. The tub. The victim is placed in a wooden barrel with only his head sticking out. Their face was smothered with a mix of milk and honey. They were then forced to eat what was left on their face, giving them bad diarrhea. In turn, that would attract maggots that would eat their bottom half slowly from their infected wounds. This has been known as one of the most painful and long torture methods. Top 3 mysterious disappearances. Number 3. D.B. Cooper. In 1971, a man by the alias Dan Cooper hijacked a plane going from Oregon to Seattle. He freed 36 passengers for a ransom of $200,000. He took off and parachuted out, never to be seen again. The FBI claimed to have over 800 suspects, but all leads came up short. Number 2. Lauren Spear. During a summer night in 2011, Lauren was partying with her friends. She was last seen at 4 a.m. outside of a nightclub, and then vanished. The weird thing is, she was trackable all night on video surveillance, right up until the very moment she disappeared, leading some to believe it was a carefully planned event. Number 1. Amelia Earhart. Being the first woman to ever fly solo across the Atlantic, she wanted to push the boundaries and become the first around the world. After 22,000 miles and being near finished, she disappeared. Last tracked somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. Nearly 80 years later, her fate is still a mystery. Top 3 meals before execution. Number 3. Velma Barfield. Known as the Death Row Granny, she was the first woman to be executed by lethal injection in 1984 since the reinstatement. She asked for a bag of cheese doodles and 1 can of Coke. Number 2. James Edward Smith. He was executed in Texas in June 1990 and oddly asked for his last meal to be a lump of dirt. Sadly, the request was denied and he was given some yogurt instead. Number 1. Lawrence Russell Browsers. With one of the biggest last meal requests, he asked for 2 chicken fried steaks, a triple patty bacon cheeseburger, a ground beef omelet, fried okra with ketchup, a pound of barbecue meat and 1 loaf of bread, 3 fajitas, a pizza, 1 pint of ice cream, 3 root beers, and a slab of peanut butter fudge. Once he received his meal, he didn't eat 1 bite and stated he wasn't hungry. Psychopath versus Sociopath. Many people use these words interchangeably as if they mean the same thing. However, there are various differences between these 2 disorders. Psychopath. Someone who gets this disorder from a genetic predisposition. They can't feel empathy or be part of a loving relationship. They are excellent at understanding and mimicking the human emotions. Rarely commit any violent crimes, but if a psychopath commits to a crime, he's going to be very precise and plan it very carefully. Examples: Ted Bundy, Richard Ramirez, Jack the Ripper. Sociopaths. They display an antisocial behavior because of environmental factors. They can form quite normal relationships and even have legitimate close friends. Impulsive behavior rarely lets them get to stay at a job for a long time or become respected members of society. The actions of a sociopath are usually unplanned and leave a lot of clues. Examples: Tom Cruise, Harvey Weinstein, Donald Trump. The most common symptom shown by both the disorders is cruelty towards animals, but if noticed in time, they can both be treated. The most cursed object on Earth. April 26, 1986, Unit 4 of the Chernobyl plant exploded during a test of the plant's turbine generator system. The air above the plant was being poisoned, all the while the rods within the destroyed reactor started melting through its container, sending corium oozing to the bottom of the reactor floor, creating a mass known as the elephant's foot. The radioactive blob was only discovered months after the meltdown. At this point, it was 11 tons, and the most dangerous object on Earth. The elephant's foot is so deadly that spending 30 seconds near it will result in dizziness and fatigue. 2 minutes near it, your cells will begin to hemorrhage. By the time you hit 5 minutes, it's lethal. There's no way to kill it, no way to safely remove it. All they could do is put a cover over it and pray it doesn't sink any deeper into the drinking water. Top 3 most unexplainable photos. Number 1. This black and white photo was taken in 1941 at a reopening of South Forks Bridge in Canada. No one has been able to explain this young man wearing sunglasses. His attire is completely unlike anything worn in the 1940s, and it looks as if he's holding a modern camera. Number 2. A man named Jim Templeton took this photo of his daughter one afternoon while they were out for a walk. There was no one else in the area at the time, but when the photo was developed, Jim noticed what appeared to be a spaceman peeking out from behind his daughter's head. Number 1. The woman in this picture wearing a brown coat was dubbed the Babushka Lady by the FBI. She was standing very close to John F. Kennedy the moment he was assassinated, and she filmed the entire thing. The FBI tried tracking her down, but she vanished without a trace. Was she just a random old lady, or does she have untold secrets? That's for you to decide. Top 3 Forgotten TikTokers. Part 4. Number 1. Rebecca Zamalo. While being the beacon of child-friendly content on the early days of TikTok, she's taken a backseat to people such as Jojo Siwa and We Were Cute.
So beefy.
Number 2. Jesse Underhill. Once the biggest heartthrob rivaled only by Jacob Sabatocious, he's fallen from the heights of videos with 20 to 30 million views to now averaging around 300,000 views. Though he still has his dedicated fan base, many of his even most devoted followers have fell off. Number 1. Baby Ariel. The first true face of this app relied heavily on lip syncs and transitions. At the same time those things went out of style, she started to lose steam and also decided to focus more on professional acting. And while her original fan base isn't always around, a new crowd has started to become fond of her once again. Top 3 Forgotten TikTokers. Part 5. Number 1. Kristen Hancer. With over 23 million followers and almost 2 billion likes, up until early 2019, she seemed unstoppable. Everyone was watching her, and if you weren't, you at least knew who she was. She would average anywhere from 2 to 6 million views at the top of her game, but she has since fallen to a pretty low 500,000 for having so many followers. Number 2. Jason Bartolini. A well-known dancer in the TikTok community that no one hates, but happens to be taking a back seat to a different dancing account. Number 1. Ourfire. This couple account is one of the most well-known on the app and in almost every TikTok ad. They are high energy and fun-loving, but have been migrating to other platforms, causing their views to drop dramatically, but still somehow being some of the least hated people on this app. Top 3 Forgotten TikTokers. Part 6. Number 1. If you were around during the early days of TikTok, you know just how big this guy was. He could expect anywhere from 1 to 6 million views per post. Some of you may be thinking, I don't know who this is. Well, this should jog your memory. He breaks his ankle once a month posting this video, every time with millions of views. I'm sure you've seen it. Number 2. ImstillCash. Literally the first person to ever even download this app went missing during late 2019. He was the early day version of Caleb Finn. Very quirky, confident, and did lots of cool transitions. Number 1. Alex Ovechkin. Once the clickbait master for kids, he seems to be falling off ever since this year started. While being able to muster up a couple viral videos, it seems as if another forgotten soul has lost their hype. Top 10 creepiest things on TikTok. Number 1. This live stream. Number 2.
M'lady.
You feel overwhelmed by sadness.
Do not share needles or pens. Ozempic should not be the first medicine for treating diabetes or for people with type 1 diabetes or diabetic ketoacidosis.
Psst. Over here.
Will you help me find her? You're not afraid of the dark, are you? Ring around the rosy, pocket full of cozy. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down. Let's play hide and seek.
Hello. If you can hear me, this is therapy session 42. We will go deep state now. Do not be alarmed. August 8th, 2016, you fell asleep and haven't been awake since. You have been in a deep coma for 3.5 years. We are reaching out via electro-brain therapy. If you can understand the words coming out of my mouth, move your left hand. Move your left hand if you can hear me. I know your life feels real in there, but you have to understand, that is not reality. You can come out if you concentrate hard enough. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. February 24th. This concludes session 42. Top 3 mysterious disappearances. Number 3. D.B. Cooper. In 1971, a man by the alias Dan Cooper hijacked a plane going from Oregon to Seattle. He freed 36 passengers for a ransom of $200,000. He took off and parachuted out, never to be seen again. The FBI claimed to have over 800 suspects, but all leads came up short. Number 2. Lauren Spear. During a summer night in 2011, Lauren was partying with her friends. She was last seen at 4 a.m. outside of a nightclub, and then vanished. The weird thing is, she was trackable all night on video surveillance, right up until the very moment she disappeared, leading some to believe it was a carefully planned event. Number 1. Amelia Earhart. Being the first woman to ever fly solo across the Atlantic, she wanted to push the boundaries and become the first around the world. After 22,000 miles and being near finished, she disappeared. Last tracked somewhere over the Pacific Ocean. Nearly 80 years later, her fate is still a mystery.